Hello and welcome to Devereux's Fireside Chat video series. Today we're kicking off the first of a few panel discussions with our executive directors. These are the leaders who manage our centers across the country. And in this session, we'll focus on chatting with our leaders in our most western states. And so I want to give a warm welcome to Devereux's President and CEO, Carl Clark, our California Executive Director, Amy Evans, Arizona Executive Director Yvette Jackson, and Texas Executive Director Pam Reed. Thank you all for being here today. All right, so before we dive into a few questions, I'd like our executive directors to provide our viewers with just a little bit of background, sharing high-level overview of your center, where you're located, who you serve, how long you've been at Devereux. And so, Amy, let's start with you.
Sure. So my center is located in California, in Santa Barbara, and we are right on the coast. And we work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have some really exciting programs. We have on the campus site, we have a program for elderly adults who are medically fragile and who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also have another home for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and they have varying ranges of needs. We have a day program that we provide pre-vocational services to individuals, both that we provide services to and other folks that come in from the community for that service. We provide supported living services and independent living services in the community. So that's where we go into someone's home and we support them in their home. And then lastly, we have 3 intensive autism group homes. So those are just houses in the community, but they work with individuals who come from really restrictive environments. And we're able to provide services to them how they would like them in a home, on a street, in the community.
Hi, Yvette Jackson. I'm the executive director here in Arizona, and we are located in both Tucson, which is in southern Arizona, and then the central region, which is Phoenix and Scottsdale. We primarily serve children with emotional and behavioral challenges, but we also serve adults living with serious mental illness in foster homes. So we actually have about 85 adults that we serve every single day, although we're very much kind of known for the work we do with children. I always want to make sure folks do not forget that we also serve a pretty large population of adults.
Great. And Pam.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pam Reed. I'm the Executive Director of Devereux's Operations in Texas. We have 2 locations in Texas, one in League City and one in Victoria. And we work with children and adolescents with autism, intellectual and developmental disabilities, trauma, and other co-occurring disorders such as anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and attention deficit disorder in residential care.
Thanks, Pam. Carl, what do you like most about working with these leaders, and why is it so exciting to have this group in one virtual room together?
Well, what's remarkable in front of you is over 90 years of Devereux experience in one panel. And each of these leaders have really done a lot to pivot and change management in their center as they focused on new programs. Amy described the niches that she serves in terms of different populations, the same with Yvette and the same with Pam. And it's pretty remarkable that they've been able to manage so much change so dynamically with the population that they serve.
Truly remarkable.
Thanks,
Carl. And thanks for that introduction about you and your centers. But I want to learn a little bit more about each of you. And I want to start with Carl. Carl, what's your leadership style and how do you motivate others?
Well, we put a lot of emphasis on servant leadership. Certainly, there's a situational leadership aspect to all of that, but we want to have a culture where everybody feels welcomed and embraced in the organization, and it's a place that you want to come to work every day because you're valued and respected for what you bring to the job.
Great. Yvette.
Yeah, I think what Carl said, we have that servant leadership culture. For me, the situational leadership and the role of executive director is so critically important. We have to wear many hats and many types of leadership hats as things come our way. We're coaches, we're mentors, we're providing clear direction, we're collaborating with our teams. And so as a situation calls for us to adapt and adjust, I really believe that that's kind of the type of leadership style that makes executive directors and folks in kind of executive roles successful. We have to be able to adapt all day, every day.
Yeah. Pam.
So I strive every day to have a people first mindset. I believe in empowering our staff, inspiring them to be the best they can be. And I think that stability and trust is a big part of that. And I also do my best every day to model the behaviors that I want to see in others.
I agree with all of my colleagues here. I think the most important role I have as a leader is to support the staff so that they can do their job. And so that means being present, encouraging them, setting expectations, and sometimes removing barriers where there's something that's getting in the way of them being able to do their job. I think probably most important, it's being able to be present and be there for the staff every day.
As we learned, you have so many years of experience. You are long tenured Devereux team members. But what was your first job at Devereux? And I'm going to start with Pam.
So it's hard to believe, but I came to Devereux almost 33 years ago, and I was 23 years old. And I started at Devereux as a teacher. And I lived in the area, and I knew the moment that I arrived that I found my people. And I walked into our League City facility was being built, and I walked into a small storefront office that was across the street with a few of our national partners who were down in Texas trying to get the program open. And the first thing I saw was a wall full of children, happy children, smiling faces. And I knew at that moment I found my home, and I was right. And all these years later, still here working with those same children and families, and happy to do it every day.
Amazing. Thank you. Amy.
So I was a student at UCSB in a psychology class, and someone came and spoke about Devereux, and I don't think I even waited a week. I think I went out there on my bike. I rode out to the campus and I applied. And as I was riding through the campus, I had a similar experience to Pam, where I saw individuals, children, and adults who were happy and staff who were happy. And I thought this is going to be a great experience while I'm in school, and I didn't leave. I stayed there. So 30 plus years later, I'm still working with those same people that Pam described.
Yvette.
Yeah. Well, I had been living in California, in Los Angeles, and I moved back to Tucson because my mother was terminally ill at the time, and I was taking care of her. And I didn't have a job because I was on, FMLA for my other job, but I was like, I want to get back into working and do something. And so I applied for one job, which was a foster parent recruiter with an organization called La Hacienda, Foster Parent Resource Center. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can do it. I got that job. And about 4 or 5 months later, Devereux had acquired that company, and I became a Devereux employee. Like Pam, I was 24 years old at the time, and have been here ever since. And that was an amazing job. It helped me in a number of ways during a difficult time in my life, helping other people, and just found a group of people that were doing the same. And this was where I needed to be, and I've never left.
That's great. Thank you. And Carl, how about you?
Well, I came to Devereux in 2015 as Chief Operating Officer, and then had the opportunity to move into the CEO role in 2018. And it's been a great organization, wonderful people. And I've never looked back after that.
Great. Thank you. I love hearing these background stories. And so fast forward to today, starting with Pam, what's the one program or initiative happening at your center now that makes you so proud to work at Devereux?
So Devereux in Texas just engaged in a significant transition. And when I say significant, I mean we've changed the entire program. We've gone from a large congregate care program to a highly specialized, intensive, evidence-based, first-in-class autism and IDD program for children. And I'm so proud of our staff. You can imagine the change that to every process, the trainings that we provide, the rules that we implement, regulations that we're held accountable to, everything has changed. I'm so proud of our staff for hanging in there with us while we've done that. And I'm proud of the leadership here. I'm very privileged to work with a very strong team, and that's part of the reason why we were able to do it.
Nice. Thank you. Amy, tell us about your program.
So I mentioned it briefly earlier, but we have 3 homes throughout Santa Barbara County where we work with individuals who are on the autism spectrum who have very, very severe challenging behaviors. And they've come out of the developmental centers. The state of California passed legislation that closed all of the developmental centers. And so we worked with each of these individuals through a person-centered approach where we really found out what they wanted and what their needs were, to create a home environment for them in the community. And some of these folks have never been in the community. They've just been in a locked facility. So we've created these homes, and I'm getting chills right now as I think about it, where they get to do what they want to do, where they get to live the life that they want to live, which is what we all want to do. So I am truly most proud of that we've created these homes for these individuals.
Yvette.
Yeah, I think I'm proud of my team for sure. I think all of us are proud of the work that we do and the teams that we work with. But I think in terms of the program, we've really built over the years a nice continuum of services, and about 4 or 5 of the services within that continuum, like we're the only provider that does that service. We've developed them to meet unique needs of our system and the unique needs of our community, and that is just something that I'm proud of our team in general. But I think if I were to pick one program, it would be, our therapeutic foster care services for adults living with serious mental illness. It's something that, the community is not very aware of. Folks don't know much about it, but when we really dig into that, being able to serve 80 individuals that were maybe homeless at one point in their life, or were in and out of, community settings, community group home settings, and seeing them live within a family with family supports and having better healthcare outcomes because of the impact with a family that a family can have as a treatment for an individual is amazing. And keeping them out of hospital and having them engage with their community and being a part of all of those things that make us, like Amy said, happy and what we want in life. That's a program that is often not spoken of, but definitely would like to pull it forward and highlight it.
Yeah, what's remarkable in all 3 cases, these are all cutting edge changes and new programming. In Arizona, what Yvette talked about, the quality of life and the cost curve impact of this program is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What Amy talked about, these are people who are enjoying everyday lives in the community that before were sort of locked away and hidden from society. And it's amazing outcomes. And with Pam, that pivot to the children with autism and IDD, it's been tremendous, and it's a retooling of a whole workforce to work with these kids effectively, and she's done a masterful job with that. So it's just really gratifying to be part of this change.
Thanks, Carl. And I just have to say, these programs really sound amazing. I've seen some of them in action, and you and your teams should be extremely proud of what you're accomplishing every day. And this is just one of your programs. I know you're all managing so many things at once. And so what's your top priority right now? And how are you managing this? Yvette, you're up first.
Yeah, the top priority for my team right now is to, we're coming off of a pandemic. We're coming off of probably the most difficult and challenging 3 or 4 years in our careers. We're proud that we are on the other side of it, for sure. We're happy about it, I can tell you that much. But it is a new world, and now we're really trying to find our footing in terms of what do we look like in the future? How are we going to grow, develop? How are we going to kind of advance and continue what we were doing pre-pandemic, which was trying to find these niche areas within our continuum of care that we can fill, and those have become new now. There are new areas that are coming forward that we know that we can come into. So our team is really energized and focused on what are those and finding the right fits for us, so that we can continue to just actually redevelop who we are, and I'm really excited about it.
I just wanted to make a comment about what Yvette said, coming as part of an acquisition. In those days, Devereux was really not active at looking for partners, looking to have mergers and acquisitions. That's changed. That is a strategic priority. And Yvette's the perfect example of talent acquisition through another organization coming into Devereux. So we're actively looking at this and working with other groups, and our phone's ringing a lot because folks are looking at Devereux as perhaps the best partner to sustain their mission into the future.
Yeah, and we're focusing on that as our priority in Arizona. And Carl's right. That was 20 plus years ago, and one of the things that was happening at the time is we were not doing a lot of child welfare, and so it was strategic that this somewhat mid-sized to small size organization that was doing that service, like how do we bring them in and learn, and how we really built the continuum in Arizona was cross-pollinating over time. That was very strategic, and the team that we have now worked really hard on that. So moving some of those services up into, the central region, and moving some of those behavioral health services down into that southern region where that merger or acquisition occurred was very intentional. And we are looking for other partners actively in Arizona to come forward. We're speaking with others, like Carl said, and I think that it's just a good strategy, and we're going to see growth and expansion and the program development across Arizona. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, and it's going to be. I think it's a great way to build another strong continuum.
Yeah, Yvette's right. There's a lot of synergy out there when you can combine the right type of organizations together.
Yep.
So always at the top of my list for priorities is safety. The safety of our individuals in care and our staff. And of course, creating a nurturing therapeutic environment for all of them. I would also say that business development is a top of mind. I'd like the services that we provide in Texas now to be available more broadly across our state and also across the country. And lastly, training. With this major pivot that we've made, you can imagine the differences in training and training needs and supports that are required. And so we've been focused on that and made a lot of strides forward with our training.
Thanks, Pam. Amy, how about you?
Yeah, like Yvette was saying, post-COVID, things have changed a lot in our environments. And so the three main priorities for the California Center really are staffing, funding, and then new business development. Staffing, no matter where we are, we want to find the best staff to work with our individuals. And we want that even though we're in the middle of a national staffing crisis in our industry. So we have to be the best organization so that we can recruit and retain the best staff. Funding, we work with the top state organizations and across the state to ensure that we receive the appropriate funding so that we can continue the services that we provide. And then new business, I think California in particular, it's sort of it's an open horizon for us to be looking at what services we can provide where there are lacking services. And I think we've got a lot of opportunities there.
Great. And Carl, you're the president and CEO. What is your top priority?
Well, good stewardship and assuring the continued success of the organization. Reinforcing the mission that began with Helena Devereux 112 years ago. And we're well on our way to realizing what her vision was through a modern lens.
Thanks, everyone. And I'd like to close this by asking, why do you keep doing this work? And what makes you stay at Devereux? Pam, let's start with you.
So both Amy and Yvette alluded to challenging times. And I think one of the things that get you through those times is the people around you. And to me, that's what's kept me at Devereux. The people of Devereux, individuals in care and their families, our staff. I'm inspired by them every day and get up every morning, excited to come to work and watch them do their thing. I have a purpose here. I'm fortunate that I've chosen a career where that purpose grows stronger every year. And I'm very proud of the work that we do at Devereux. That keeps me here. but working alongside an awesome team, and being a part of an incredible mission and work. And over many years, I've been inspired by our leadership. And that's kept me going too. Lots of opportunities and exposure over many years. And it's been very motivating and inspiring for me.
Thanks. Amy.
So I could repeat what my peers have said. You know, I think the mission is the first thing. The work that we do every day, you can't be at Devereux and not want to do this good work. So that is the first reason why I think we're all here. And then alluding to what Pam said as well, I think I am professionally challenged on a daily basis in a good way, most of the time in a good way, where my peers, the people that I interact with, both at the center and then nationally, it's like we're this giant think tank for the services that we provide in our field. And I feel like we are on the cutting edge. And so that's really part of what keeps me here for so long.
Thanks, Amy. Yvette.
Yeah, I would just add that for me, it's the people that I've worked alongside. Like they're so familiar, and we've worked together for so long. Like even Pam and Amy, I've known them or of them like my entire career. Literally, they were here before me. Same for like my team on my senior leadership team. Like the youngest tenured person is 10 years. And like so fortunate to come to work with people that are like family to you, people that I knew before they had kids, and that are so dedicated to the work. We've built things together, and we've made changes together, and we've gone through hard things together, and that just builds you closer. But we're all doing it for the same reason. And while I love what Amy said, like it is very challenging in a good way. And I always say, at the end of the day, I don't have a soul sucking job. I have a soul satisfying job. And as long as that remains, I'm good.
Thanks, Yvette. Carl, what makes you stay at Devereux? What makes you keep doing this work?
Well, the motivation of having the best team I've ever worked with in my career, and the willingness to help each other and support each other, and the universal idea that people start with the idea that let's focus on the best needs of the individual and family. And if we focus on that, we'll do the right thing on their behalf. So that's really what motivates me and keeps me here.
Wow. Well, a big thank you to Carl, Amy, Pam, and Yvette for your time today. And many thanks to all those watching. If you work for Devereux, you are one of the 6,000 plus team members who are making an impact in the lives of those we serve every day. What you do truly matters. And like Yvette said, this is soul satisfying work. If you don't work for Devereux, you've just found your dream team. Our leaders care so deeply about the children and adults we serve, and they empower our employees to unlock their full potential every day. So for those looking to build a rewarding career in behavioral health, you belong here. Look for us online at jobs.devereux.org and have a great day.